Okay, so welcome everyone to the Sunday Sit. I've been back from my cabin retreat a few weeks now, and I took over teaching responsibilities up at the Monastic Academy, teaching all the folks up in Lowell how to meditate, and it's been a great experience, and it's nice to come down and have the opportunity to connect with our Burlington community again. One of the themes that's been sort of emerging lately as I was doing my own practice for a few months in the cabin, and also as I'm training other people, hoping to impart some wisdom, is this sense of actually responding to what's present, actually being here with what's here, rather than our ideas of what's happening, or ideas of what's supposed to be happening, or ideas of the right system that we're just supposed to dogmatically follow and somehow get results. And it turns out this is actually very challenging to do. So I remember my first week in the cabin, I brought a few books. And so I had one resource from a Theravada monk, and I had another book from a Zen master. And I'd read the Theravada book, and it'd say things like, if you're having a hard time concentrating, it means you're not happy enough, and you just need to relax and stop trying so hard, and be proud of all the good virtue you've accumulated and all the good things you've done. And if it's still not working, just chill and wait for a while or something. And I was like, oh, that sounds like good instruction. I should just stop trying so hard and relax and be happy. And I'll do gratitude practices and think about how grateful I am and think about how good my life is. And it kind of worked, but not really. And then I'll read this Zen master book that's like, it should be like you're boring through a mountain with your fingers. And you just cultivate great energy and smash through the hindrances and just do it. And then I'll do that, and I go, I'm just going to do it. And that's right. And don't need sleep or food or anything. Go for it. And that didn't really work either. And I got really confused. I'll talk to Soryu, our head teacher, and I'll be like, I'm really confused. This guy says relax, and you should just be happy. If you're not concentrated, it's because you're not happy. And this other guy talks about tunnel through a mountain with your bare hands, and it doesn't matter what's happening, just do it. And I tried both of them. It doesn't seem like either approach really works. One way, I'm just lazy and sleepy, and the other way, I'm getting really tensed and stressed out and hating myself. So they both don't work. So what's going on here? And I spent a while with that conundrum and have spent years learning and relearning that lesson time and time again. Reading a new book or finding a new teaching or discovering a new technique, receiving some wisdom from someone else, and then going, oh, this is the answer. Okay, this is the thing that's going to work always. I just have to do this thing. And usually it works initially. There's some momentum, excitement, and then pretty soon, in minutes or hours or days, it doesn't seem like it's working anymore. And so what is going on? And usually, for me at least, it's not until I've completely given up and feel completely hopeless and inadequate and helpless, and it feels like I've tried everything and nothing works. I can get some momentum, I can get some concentration, but eventually physical pain or tiredness or wanting something or my mind just racing, something usually takes over eventually. Even if I have great bliss and joy, that goes away, and it seems like I'm just stuck. And it's usually not until I get to the point of just giving up and going with, what would happen if I just actually followed my breath and just gave up on any goal or expectation or trying to match some book or try to match what Soryu said that I should be feeling or something, even though he never says that, but that's what I think he says in my memory of him. What if I just did this body scan or just said this mantra, and I gotta use this time anyway, so what would happen? And then noticing, I'm a little tired, this is probably sleepiness, I should maybe straighten up a little bit. Or, I'm having a lot of thoughts, I think I'm tense, I should relax a little bit. And usually for me, that's when the practice actually catches fire and actually something real is happening. When I've given up all my thoughts and dreams and hopes and fears, doubts and wishes about what the practice is supposed to be, whether or not I'm a good person or I'm a bad person, whether or not this technique is good or bad, whether I should be following Zen or Christianity or Sufism or Taoism or doing this or that or whatever. And I just give up and I just have this moment. I just have this moment. What am I going to do with this moment? I can maybe breathe. I go, well, that wasn't like supernatural bliss, but it was nicer than thinking about how to do this, so maybe I can breathe again. I go, it's a little more relaxed. And then just keep on going. And then realizing, this practice doesn't require me to memorize everything. It doesn't require me to follow some routine all the time. It doesn't require me to be a perfect person or have perfect understanding. All this practice is asking me is to be vulnerable enough to actually be with my present moment. And in my later sits, I would start with I'm going to let go of any goal or expectation of where I'm supposed to be in 10 minutes or 30 minutes. I'm going to let go of any hope of what this is going to be like or any fear that's going to be poor, and just have the trust and faith. This is my experience right now. And the real question in practice and the real question in our lives isn't so much what's happening to us. Is this just? Is this unjust? Is this fair? Is this unfair? Do I like this or do I not like this? The real question is, how do I respond? What am I doing? And so for so much of my life, it's being this passive victim of life is happening to me, and I'm angry at people for not giving me their life I want or something, or hoping that if I go to grad school, or if I apply to this job, or if I do this thing, if I'm in this relationship, then I'll be happy. I just have to find the right thing, and then I'll receive happiness. Rather than seeing that I have agency, I have sovereignty, I have freedom, I have a choice and decision of how do I respond to this moment. All I have ever are this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment. And as soon as I try to add on a dream, a delusion, a theory about what my life is supposed to be like, what I deserve, or what I don't deserve, suddenly I'm gone from this moment. It's ironic because, or maybe not ironic, tragic or something, that this moment is so obvious, and yet for so many of us, it's so hard to actually just be here. And we go through our lives, and the systems that we ought to be able to trust are actually incentivized to keep us not here, but rather somewhere else. Always thinking about the future or the past, always in a state of agitation or fear or doubt or desire or longing, craving. So many of our systems, the news or shopping on Amazon or something, constantly trying to bombard us with how things aren't okay right now, that we need to find a solution or find a product or constantly be updated with the news, even though not that much happens in 10 minutes or in 1 hour or even 1 day or even 1 week. COVID's been around since March in the US, and yet how much has really changed at all? If we had read the news in March and then we read the news now, yes, there's been peaks and valleys and some places are spiking and this, that, and the other, but I was in the cabin for 2.5 months, and when I came back and read the news, I was like, oh, there's nothing new than when I went in the cabin. I don't know anything that's new about how to prevent this or get immune from this or how to respond to this. It's basically the same thing. And so much of our institutions, so much of people are incentivized to make us want to find a solution that will just end all discomfort, end all confusion, rather than just being present with our experience. And we want that because it's not comfortable in our bodies to not know and to have discomfort. Even a little bit of chronic discomfort feels worse than almost anything. A lot of us carry around this mild form of discomfort and are constantly looking for a solution, looking for someone to make us feel better, looking for the answer so that we feel okay. And the only solution we don't want to hear is just be with that discomfort for a few minutes. Actually physically be with that discomfort in our bodies and just face it. It's actually not that bad usually, but our minds are so sensitive and fragile, having not been exposed to this, that we freak out and it feels like we're getting tortured or something. And it's interesting because 5 of us at the Monastic Academy recently finished our cabin retreats. Some of us were in for like a month, some of us did. Well, Tashin was in there for like off and on for like 4 months. And I've only talked to 4 of us, including me. I still haven't talked to one of them, but it's interesting because we all agreed that this was the best experience of our life, without a doubt, bar none. The most happiness, the most joy, the most bliss we've ever felt in our lives. And it was also the hardest, most challenging time in our life, to actually deeply feel all the discomfort, all the suffering, all the stuff that we always think, maybe there's this other solution rather than feeling it or being with this. But now being in the cabin where we don't have any other options, there's just sleep and maybe some journaling and sitting. And so actually digesting all of this experience and then being free of it, what a great blessing and joy to actually be free of constantly trying to run away from our experience. Constantly go, oh, this is not the right experience. Maybe someone can tell me or sell me the right information or the right news or the right product that will make this bad thing go away and make me happy. And so this is such a subtle point that's so hard to teach that I don't know how to do it when I'm teaching the residents. And, some people are like, so I'm just supposed to completely relax, right? My body should just feel flowing and relaxed. Or other people are like, I should feel really energized, right? I should feel a lot of energy, and I should just persist and keep going no matter what. And the answer is yes to both. Ideally, we feel deep relaxation, and we feel a lot of energy and deep engagement. And each of us needs to respond to our own present experience. Each moment is telling us how to respond, is telling us what we need to do. And only we can really say what the appropriate response is. And we might get it wrong, we might make a lot of mistakes. But fortunately, in something like sitting meditation, we have in a 30-minute period, thousands of iterations of trying to respond to the moment. And then when we finally let go, deeper and deeper and deeper, letting go to just whatever our experience is, we can enter concentration, we can enter samadhi, we can enter absorption, where we're no longer struggling to be with our experience, but more or less to increasing degrees actually just with our experience. And I think for a lot of us, we have tastes of this, say when we see a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset, when we unexpectedly hear some birds chirping, and there's just a sense of wonder and ease and engagement that doesn't require figuring it out or anything. But how to actually cultivate this as a way of life, as a practice, as something that we can consciously do as a skill, rather than live in the normal, tense, reactive, scared, doubtful, craving mode. And this is a practice and a skill that we sit on the cushion, sit in our chairs to learn how to do. How can I continually lose? Stop trying to gain, stop trying to know, stop trying to figure out the ultimate solution for my life, but actually just be alive in this moment. How do I do that? And then when we enter concentration, when we enter absorption, it feels great and relaxed and blissful. And then we find all the ways that we psych ourselves out and don't trust that and pull ourselves out of it. And then for me at least, questioning myself, why am I not always just in this? What's the attachment? What's the fear? What's the doubt? What's the blockage that is hindering my ability to live more and more fully from this place? And then seeing all the ways that I've either consciously or unconsciously taken up attachments of whatever it is. My physical body, needing to have a relationship, needing money. Not that any of these are inherently evil or bad or that we shouldn't have them or something, but the ways that I latched on and thought, oh, if I need to have, I must have this thing, and if it's not going well, it just means that I'm doing it wrong, and I need to find a way to do that better. That doesn't work. It's like the difference between giving someone a gift out of love versus giving a gift because you think you're supposed to give a gift, or receiving a gift that someone genuinely cares about us and wants to give us a gift versus that person feels like they're supposed to give me a gift. They're completely different qualities. So if I think, oh, I need to be in a relationship to be happy or something, versus I'm just in a relationship and there isn't this, because I'm supposed to, it's a completely different quality. And that attachment, that neediness, that lack of equanimity, means that we're not with our experience, because I was constantly thinking I need these other things, that this happiness is incomplete because I don't have these other things that I'm attached to. So I must need these other things. So this happiness can't be real. But in fact, when we let go of all of that, more and more letting go of what we think we need, what's supposed to happen, what this moment is supposed to be like to be complete or whole or happy, we can discover a mind that's free, that's empty, that's clear, that can merge with all things. And at that point, it becomes so obvious that, if I'm not always trying to add on what I think experience is supposed to be, then I can fully receive each person, each moment, each part of nature, and all my job that I have to do the rest of my life is just respond. All I ever have to do is respond to what's happening right now in front of me. I don't need to have some big philosophical system or doctrine of how to make things right or something. All I have to do is respond. And there's some wisdom, there's some skill, there's something that knows how to respond, that wants to respond out of compassion, mysteriously, somehow, letting go of everything. There's something that still wants to respond out of compassion. And then it's a great relief, because, wow, all I have to do is respond to my life. I don't have to figure out my life. I don't need to create my life. I don't need to make my life okay. I don't need to make myself okay. All I need to do is respond to life. It's like we're in a dance, and all I need to do is follow the dance. I don't need to figure out all the steps and then teach everyone else what all the steps are and force them to follow those steps. I don't need to shame myself that I'm not allowed to dance until I am a perfect dancer or something. All I need to do, there's already a dance happening, and all I need to do is respond each moment to whatever the next step is. Maybe I fumble and maybe I mess it up. That's okay, that's still part of the dance. And I think deep down this is, at least for me, a very terrifying and very vulnerable place to enter. If I actually am just with this present experience, without having some overarching ideology about how to make it right, then we're really testing, is there an inner wisdom that knows how to respond? Are things at their base, pure, original nature, actually good and trustworthy? Or is it good that we're artificially always trying to create systems overlaying nature? We really don't know until we test out whether or not it's trustworthy or not. And so for most of us, and I know for myself, there's a lot of times when I would rather know the right answer or think I know the right answer rather than actually test whether or not things inherently are trustworthy and don't require me to control and micromanage everything. If I engage in this dialogue with a person, do I need to plan out every single step of the conversation, or can I actually trust that something good will emerge even if it's painful and hard? And so we as human beings have done a great job at being able to predict, being able to control nature, being able to measure, create wonderful technology like light and heat, cars and flying. And that's all based on being able to observe and measure and control. But in that process of becoming like gods, of learning how to control everything, there's a deep insecurity, a deep fear, a deep doubt inside of, if I'm not in control of everything, if someone's not in control of everything, then something bad's going to happen. And so in our meditation practice, we really get to test, is our experience trustworthy, or do I need to always, be vigilant, be controlling, managing, knowing the right answer? Or can it be like a dance, learning a new dance where I don't know the steps and yet somehow experience will teach me how to do this dance? This is the great opportunity, and we can be grateful that there have been many wonderful teachers and many wonderful traditions over thousands of years pleading with us, trying to teach us that yes, it is trustworthy, it is safe, it is okay, that this road of trying to control life only kills it, and this way of trusting life and learning to dance with it is the only way we can sustain ourselves and continue living. And so, to whatever extent that we can, to whatever way we can test this in our own life. Obviously on the cushion when we sit, but also in many other circumstances of am I trying to follow some recipe for my experience, or am I actually here right now? This is turns out to be a great challenge and a great opportunity, and a great blessing that it turns out it always is actually available. Our experience is our experience, so it's always closer than our face. And so we can be grateful that it's not some faraway thing that we have to one day achieve or fulfill. All we're doing is learning how to get out of our own way. And in that way, we're learning that all we ever have to do is respond. And because the only thing we ever have to do is respond to life, the only option that's really left for any of us to do is to do whatever the right thing is. Whatever the right way to respond to this moment is really the only real option that dances with life, and any other option that goes against being here, dancing with life, responding to life, is a way of trying to avoid being with our experience.